Hello, I'm Eric Goldring, and welcome to Burlington Matters. Burlington Matters is a program I host here on your TV featuring discussion about issues and events that are important to the community of the City of Burlington. The City of Burlington offers so many different activities. We have all sorts of different parks and trails and pools and events and festivals and destinations for residents and visitors. And our summer months are extremely active, and we kick off our summer month activity with June, which is the month of play. So with me here today to talk about a number of things that the City of Burlington is involved with regard to parks and recreational activities is the Director of Parks and Recreation for the City of Burlington to my immediate left, Chris Glen. We have Denise Beard beside Chris, the Manager of Community Development, and we have Lori Henderson, who is the Marketing Coordinator within the Parks and Recreation Department. So I say welcome to all three of you, and I look forward to our discussion on the program. So yeah, June is the month of play. And I know we do a lot of work to promote play, but the concept of play, we may look at it a little different than others. Chris, do you want to
certainly
elaborate?
If we go back a little bit in time, Parks and Rec Ontario took an initiative to have June as Parks and Recreation, the month of Parks and Recreation, and tried to encourage that to be done across the province of Ontario. We picked up on that and have done that for a number of years, but we elaborated on that, and really we want to play on the word play. So we're looking at June as being the month of play, and below that, the theme that we're looking at this year is get outside and play, and another theme will be power off and play. So those are two themes that we're looking to really move forward in this particular summer coming up. So you might ask, why play? So play, of course, for us is more about physical well-being, social connection, people getting a chance to continually learn, get outside and do different things, basically have fun, and we really think it's an essential part of a well-being community as well.
It's not just June. We have the 12 months of the year, 365 days a year. We have active programming, either put on by community partners or the city itself.
Very true.
So the pop-up and play, you mentioned that, and my notes here, it says encouraging risky play. What does that mean? Denise, Lori, do you want to take a stab at that one?
Pop-up and plays in our parks throughout the city, and it's unconventional play. So we'll bring out wheelbarrows and bathtubs and rope and cardboard boxes and hammers and nails, and just encouraging children to play. We actually encourage the parents not to be involved. We have staff at our parks and just building things and having fun at our parks.
And when will this start, and over what time frame will it be offered?
It starts in July and goes every week, twice a week, July and August.
And in more than one park?
Parks across the city. You can go to burlington.ca/play,
right.
And all of it is listed in our Rec and Leisure Guide as well. So yeah, they're just running all throughout the summer.
Well, that sounds very novel.
Yeah,
that sounds really neat. But you got to keep the parents away. You got to let the kids be creative on their own.
Yes.
There's a 30-day challenge. 5 Ws. There's an app involved with that. Lori, do you want to expand on that one as well?
We're kicking off the month of June at the Kite Festival this year on June 3rd. And with that, we're going to be doing a 30-60 play challenge. So it's 30 activities in 60 days. And so the activities can be as easy as drinking out of a hose, playing hopscotch, or from organizing a Love My Hood. So you can download the app and you can create either a person or a family, create your profile, and each activity you get points for, and then we'll be awarding a prize pack for the person that has the most points. So we'll be giving away 4 Fitbits and a $250 gift certificate for Parks and Recreation. And then we'll just be doing 30 random prize packs.
So it's a great opportunity for a family to get together and say, over the next 60
Yep,
days.
60
we're gonna do
days.
30 different activities. And what are you going to do? What are you going to do? What can we do
Yeah.
together? And they can track it on the app and get points and have the potential to have the win a prize. More importantly, it's a
get
great time for
outside.
the family to be together and be
Yeah,
connected.
and they just need to do the 30 activities. And like I said, some are super easy, climbing the climbing wall at Nelson, or doing a lap swim, going down the slide at Mountainside, having a picnic. So we're really encouraging people to go outside and use all the great spaces and places that we have.
So, and it's outside.
Everything's outside.
It's a wide variety of activities. It isn't necessarily running, jogging for 5 miles or anything like that.
Nope, you can just ride your bike. That would be the activity.
That sounds like a lot of fun. A lot of fun. That's a great idea.
We look forward to you being involved.
Well, whatever you need me to do, please let me know. So there's also 101 Day coming up, and other cities have been involved in this particular program. It's a partnership with an organization called Evergreen.
Correct.
Denise, can you enlighten us about
So 101 Day.
101 Day.
101 days. So you have to remember, it's 100 activities we're looking to happen in one day. So the community, what we're asking them is to get out and be inspired and try something new and different. It can be as simple as standing on a street corner and giving high fives to somebody on the street just to make their day, smiling at people, or doing something even more elaborate like putting up motivational signs along our hydro corridor saying, keep going, you're almost there. Anything to really encourage people to get together and get outside and embrace community spirit together. So Evergreen is the organization that runs it for Canada, but it's actually part of a global movement that started in Colombia years ago. And it's really about getting community to come together to bring each other together and to celebrate all the positives that we have in community life. So we're looking to do that on June the 2nd of this year, and we're running a ton of workshops right now to help people get their ideas, inspire them to move forward, and we really look forward to people being active on June the 2nd.
So that first weekend in June is going to be busy. Right? You got the
very
Kite Festival on the Sunday, and this particular day, the 101 Day on June the 2nd. So we definitely look forward to that.
Maybe worth Denise telling you who's got the inspiration to carry this forward in terms of the millennials.
Right. One of the members of your millennial group is actually the leader of the 101 Day in Burlington, and she's taken the challenge on, Julia, to run it for the entire city. So she had the idea, and we've motivated her to really rise to the leadership position and bring this to our community. So it was great to have that connection with your millennial council to bring that forward.
That's right. I did forget about that for the moment. You're absolutely right. We talked about that at our last committee meeting. That's fantastic. You know, the city we have 117 parks. We have 3,600 programs, 39,000 people enrolled in those programs. We have 213 kilometers of trails, 700 hectares of park space, over 200 community events a year. We have 7 waterfront parks. I can go on, 3 leash-free parks, and so on. Host 250 sports tournaments a year. So we offer many different programs for many different people. We're in partnership or play a support role with other community groups that are involved in providing opportunities for the community to get engaged. Are there any hidden gems that the average person wouldn't know about that we'll have an opportunity today to talk about?
There are a lot of gems, certainly, in our inventory and our opportunity. I'm going to toss a couple out and then ask others to add on. I'm going to go back to one that we've recently rejuvenated, a gem that we brought back into the inventory last year, Nelson Outdoor Pool. So if you remember, we had to take that out of inventory for a couple of years. We were able to open it for a portion of the year last year, but we're excited to get it back in the inventory in its entirety for this summer. It's going to open earlier this year. It's going to open at the beginning of June, I believe. So we'll be able to have that back in full operation, and that's a nice complement to the Mountainside Outdoor Pool. Another one that's kind of a back from the past is the beach. The beach we lost, if you remember last year, we had the water levels, et cetera, gave us trouble, so it's back in operation this year as well. You mentioned the trails. I think that's a hidden gem for people to get out and have a look at. There are all kinds of places you can get to and enjoy outside.
You know, the trails in the multi-purpose pathways are such an asset, and I live really close to one, and it's so nice to be able to go out and walk for however long as you want to walk for. In a nice leisurely way or a brisk pace, whatever you want to do. And you see so many other people out walking. But I don't believe people would walk as much on their streets in their neighborhoods without that.
I agree. Yes.
It just makes it so much easier and much more enjoyable for people to walk on the multi-purpose pathways and the other trails.
And you get a chance to stop and talk to people and connect with your neighbors.
Yeah.
It's really great.
And that does happen to me on occasion.
The odd time, perhaps, yes.
We're always considering new programs.
Yes.
We can't sit still. We always have to be on the edge as far as being ahead of where things are going. What are some of the programs that have been the biggest hits within the community? Is there anything new that we have in the offing?
Maybe I'll start with a few. I guess if I look into the summer months, certainly some of our more popular programs would be our summer camps, as well as our swimming lessons and those kinds of things that would be typical for folks. I'll get into the new stuff with Lori just for a minute, because I want to spend a moment just to talk about student theater. And student theater, of course, is a very, very popular. It's one of the first ones that get filled when we do our registration programs, and it's got its 40th anniversary this year. So Reiner and team are really looking forward to some celebrations as we go forward. In terms of new programs, I'm going to ask Lori to tell you about a few that we've got going, because she's well
the
up to
pop-up
speed.
and play, we're in our second year, so we're really hoping with it, the dates and the guide to help. We have our women's only swim, which is new, so we've actually moved it over to Angela Colgan Pool, and we have drop-in lessons as well. One of the things we're doing with our outdoor pools this year, like Chris said, we have Nelson opening and Mountainside, is we're having it all day swimming. So you can go from 11 till 7, which is, you can bring your picnic and spend the whole day there like a destination. We also are adding in more lap swimming. So pretty much all day you can do lap swimming, whether it's indoors or outdoors. We're adding a early bird lap swim to Mountainside Pool, which I think will be very popular. And we're also adding a lap swimming at Nelson Pool at night. We have some twilight rates for the pools, so if you go after 5 o'clock, it's less expensive. We're continuing with our No Socks for Ivan program. We have so many free programs in the city that aren't new, but adding on. So again, this summer we'll have our yoga in the park. We've added on Qigong in the park. We have our Movies Under the Stars. We have our concert series at Central. So we have just lots of free program that sometimes the community aren't aware of. So again, you can always go to burlington.ca/play.
Burlington.ca/play.
Yes.
Well, we're going to play some more. We're going to take a quick break, but we're going to be right back and discussing more about what's happening with Parks and Recreation and other community activities within the city of Burlington. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Burlington Matters. I am Mayor Rick Goldring, and today we are discussing all the great activities that are happening from a recreational point of view within the city of Burlington. And joining me today is the Director of Parks and Recreation for the city, Chris Glen, the Manager of Community Development, Denise Beard, and the Manager of Marketing Services, our Marketing Coordinator, I should say, Lori Henderson. So once again, thank you for joining me today. You know, Burlington's getting older. The demographics are changing. We now have 19.3% of our population over 65. We have about 32% over age 55. The diversity of Burlington is changing from a ethnic background point of view. We have more and more immigration coming to Burlington. How do those trends, those demographic trends, influence our offerings in the community?
Do you want me to?
Go ahead, Denise.
If you don't mind, Chris. Yeah. They influence us immensely because a lot of how we deliver our programs and services is based from what the community wants, and they come forward and identify some of those for us.
So ladies only swim,
So
is that
exactly,
identified?
I was going to use that example, 100%. Our Muslim women's community noted that they didn't have an opportunity to swim anywhere in our community, and so we've worked with them to create an opportunity for women only swimming, and especially to learn to swim. That has been the huge driver of that. To learn how to swim when we live beside such a great lake in Ontario. So that has been a definite plus from that standpoint. From a demographic standpoint, we know that we have more retirees in our community. They're looking to do more recreation during the daytime. And so one of the most popular programs that we have right now is around pickleball. And I'm sure Chris can talk about pickleball.
Yes. Maybe
No,
I'll carry
I
on.
tried it just very briefly, and it's pretty cool. You take half a tennis court and you put a line down the middle, and it's doubles. So
Correct.
you're only running around on about a quarter of a traditional
Correct.
tennis court.
Shorter net.
And it's a shorter net.
Wider racket.
And you have a better chance of hitting the
And
ball.
a wiffle ball. Yes.
Easier to track.
But I can see the popularity
Yeah.
because you still need hand-eye coordination.
Yeah.
But if you
Very
got
much
bad
so.
knees or a bad
Yeah.
back, you don't have to run quite as much.
Right.
little camaraderie involved with that.
Absolutely.
We're actually finding the skill level where we're having more people where we have to have beginner, intermediate, and seniors
Okay.
in order to be able to participate. So yes. Maybe if you want to carry on the senior side,
Well, I do because we did
Yeah.
council approved an active aging plan.
we did indeed.
And what are some of the areas in there that are under the domain of your department?
Under my particular department, and well, maybe the active aging plan was something that we did with outside folks as well as inside departments. So everyone wanted to have a bit of an opportunity to participate. So we want to touch on things such as transportation and outdoor spaces and social inclusion and those types of things. So within the Parks Recreation area, we're really looking at trying to get people outside playing and being more active and engaged. So with that as well, we want to create facilities and amenities that are more conducive for those types of folks as well. So with us, we're adding more programs and services. The senior center, of course, is very, very busy, and it's kind of at the seams, per se. We're into Brant Hills, we're into Tansley Woods, we're in a variety of other locations, as well as we're heading up into Lowville as an example for some hiking and outdoor yoga, etc.
So is that but targeted at seniors?
Targeted at
55
seniors, we're
plus,
kind of
or-
55 plus age category we're going.
It's not a senior.
Not
No.
senior, right?
It's not
Actually, you and I had significant birthdays last year
Yeah,
too,
so
so
it's
it's
definitely not
older
senior.
adults,
Senior.
55 plus at this point. But I'll use an example of Tansley Woods. We've added in more aqua fitness type programs and land fitness programs, and it's becoming very, very popular all times of day and in the evening actually. And the social inclusion part of this is if everyone has their own spot in the pool for when they participate. And if you didn't show up for a couple of days, you can be sure someone would be giving you a call to check in to see how you're doing and why weren't you there. And I would suggest that the actual fitness program is important, but the coffee and chat afterwards is just as important,
Oh,
if not
absolutely.
more important. So we're continuing to work at this. We got an award, which I fairly recently that we got from the Minister of Senior Affairs, and we're now considered an age-friendly community, and we were recognized in March for that as well, and we're quite proud about that. And a little plug for our advisory committee is the Burlington Seniors Advisory Committee. We're the ones that spearheaded that submission, so we're quite pleased to work in partnership with them.
Excellent. We have a lot to be proud of. We have so many different programs that engage our community at the grassroots level. And I know, Denise, I'm looking at you because what was it, 3.5 years ago or so, I believe it was you wanted to bring in a speaker by the name of Jim Dyer from Seattle.
it.
And he came in, I think it was December
January,
2014,
something, yeah.
January
Yeah.
2015, so we're at 3.5 years ago. And he came in and he inspired the community. Councillor Taylor and I went to a session that was really for staff only, but Councillor Taylor and I were inspired. I know your whole team was inspired.
Yes, very
And
much so.
as a result, we've added in some really unique programs to help engage the community. Can you talk a little bit about them?
There's probably 3 or 4 that jump out right away about investing in our community. Jim was very inspiring, and one of the first things he said to us is people hate to go to meetings, as we can all attest to. We've been to public meetings, and maybe not the best way to engage our community from time to time. But what Jim said to us was, people will come to a party. And that was the inspiration behind Love My Hood. So Love My Hood is really about people having street parties. And last year, as you know, you're a great supporter and champion for us. We had a goal to have 150 Love My Hood programs last year, just to have street parties or neighborhood parties. We had 157. I remember people were going, that's a lofty goal, 150. And when we exceeded it, that was...
Congratulations.
Because we would have had how many the year before?
The year before we had 32.
So we really marketed it well.
Yeah, and thanks to your leadership and
No, I thought
constant
it was-
promotion,
yeah.
it was,
You held one yourself, I believe.
I did.
Yeah.
Well, It was a royal we. It wasn't just me.
And yours was very inspirational because you added a giving back component to it as well, which I thought was very unique and different than some of the others. A lot of my hoods just have a party, and we love that because people know their neighbors now and they celebrate. But you added that gift of giving back piece and had the food drive and filled up the maple leaf on the street with all the donations to the food bank, which was outstanding. But the whole point of the program is really get to know your neighbors. Like, who do you live beside? Being a commuter city this close to Toronto, it's very easy for us to drive our cars in and go into the house and never come outside. So it's really done the job that we wanted it to get people outside to play and know each other. The other thing that Jim really inspired and helped bring leadership around is our community investment program. And that is our community, and in particular our community matching fund program. And that's where people can have ideas about how they can improve our public realm or our public spaces and make them more beautiful, more comfortable, or inspire themselves. They put in the labor, they put in the sweat, and we match them with actual dollars to see that come to fruition. So one of my favorite ones from last year was the butterfly garden, right on one of our hydro corridor pathways, a multi-use trail, as you spoke of, at a trailhead. And this woman was inspired to create a butterfly garden, and for less, we gave her maybe $1,000, but her and her whole neighborhood, her cul-de-sac, came together, built the garden, and it's this beautiful little space now where everybody drops in as they're going up and down the multi-use trail. So simple things like that. If you have an idea, we have money that we want to give to you to help you see that project come to fruition, and that's been so inspirational.
The pride of ownership in the community.
Big time, yeah. And the last program, because we talk about June a lot here, but our last program that really got resurrected with Jim coming in was the neighborhood rink program. And so we really want people to be active year-round, as we spoke of earlier. And the neighborhood rink program is those people who really want to do skating in their local park. Granted, there's got to be some parameters around it. If they're willing to put in the sweat equity to build the rink, to maintain the ice, we will put up the boards and we'll let you run a rink on one of our park pieces. So it gets people together, active in the winter. It hits all the check marks for us about being an inclusive, engaging, and physically active community. So we love everything Jim did. Has really inspired us to move forward. And 101 is just sort of the icing on the cake for us at this point.
And the Love My Hood program still exists.
It
wasn't
still
just
does.
a Canada 150 program.
No, it's going on.
It still exists. And for those people that want to consider something for 2018, it's really easy to arrange. The city has a booklet, or you can go online, and it's really, point by point, some of the things you have to deal with, and the city will reimburse you up to $300 of any out-of-pocket costs for the event.
Yep.
And it also says that you can actually contact the Teen Tour Band, and if they are available, they will perform. They might show up.
And the fire department too.
And the fire department, they will show up as well, which is great for the kids. They have coloring books for the kids, and they engage the young people in the community. No, it truly is a great program that helps bring our city together and make us more inclusive. But we just don't do our own events. We are involved with other community groups and help facilitate what other community groups do with regard to programs they offer, as well as events that they run. Can you elaborate on that particular part of the Parks and Recreation Department? And I will look at Chris.
I will start, and then if you want to speak to events specifically, we can chat with Denise a little further. We operate under an umbrella of community development, where we're looking to support community organizations in the delivery of services or activities that they'd like to do in their own community. Love My Hood is perhaps a small example. So a lot of what we do is end up supporting organizations. In the sporting world, there's a very good example of our hockey and our baseball, etc. And we'll assist them in that delivery, support them with their volunteer development and all those types of things. If we get to a spot where we need to provide them with additional supports to help them be sustainable, then we can certainly do that along the way. When we get to eventing, I think that's an example of where most of the events are run by our neighborhood of interest. There are a few that we run in more direct delivery, and that would be things such as Canada Day would be one example, and I think Kite Fest is another one that we do. But for the most part, we tend to work with organizations to deliver them. If you want to add on, feel free.
Yeah, I was going to say, a few years ago, we were recognized as the Municipality of the Year by Festivals and Events Ontario. And the reason we were given that recognition, Denise?
I think it is our delivery model that it's not the city running the events, it's actually the community running the events. And often, I was just going to elaborate on what you said, Chris, Sound of Music Festival is a massive festival in Burlington. It really puts us on the map for festivals. And often people think that that's city run, and it's not. It's run by its own not-for-profit board of directors. And it's all community-based, or Burlington residents who really put on that outstanding multi-day festival in Burlington. And I think it's because of things like that, Rib Fest being another one, it's run by the Rotary Club, it's not run by the city. And I think that's what gave us that award, that we are able to work with community to deliver these massive events that are truly successful, and they're not involving the city.
Well, it is. We should be proud of that for sure, because it's not about us, it's about the community.
Right.
Correct.
And helping people. There's some enhancements coming to some of our parks the next few years. Chris, do you want to elaborate on some of those?
I can give a few. Certainly, there's maybe a small one that's coming up right now, and Denise will be excited about this one. I think Bolus Park is a park area where we put the the playground in last year.
That's over south of Plains Road, over in the Warwick Surrey community.
Exactly, and with the support of the Patrick McNally Foundation, we're able to put a water feature in there this year. So that's happening too. I think it's got a connection to our fire department, if I remember as well. It's going to look
the look and feel of the park.
Look and feel of it being in that regard. So that's a small piece of what's going on. I think you'll also, recently we put in play a survey for 14 playgrounds that we're asking for the public to provide us input into that. And that's important not only for the infrastructure of a playground set, but what we also want to look at is how can we leverage that park as a bumping space or a gathering space for the community, not just for the little ones to come, but how do we expand that space so it's comfortable for folks of all ages and all interests to come there, shade structures, etc. If we go up to Kilbride for a moment, what we're looking at up there is the potential addition of a skateboard park. So we'll take that to the northern friends up there and let them see. So we're in the process of doing that conversation as well. If I gave two other more significant park areas, our waterfront, Burl Oak has had some significant work done on that. A little more of the back of shop infrastructure, pathways being put in there this year, and now we're getting ready to start to add on some of the amenities. Phase 3 will be maybe the most exciting. We'll get the water play feature and things. So Burl Oak is starting to show some additional use. Beachway itself, we've had some work down there, and we're going to be doing a bunch of work at that not too far down the road. And I believe Sherwood Forest Park is up as well for some effort.
And we're going to have to save that to a future show.
We look forward to that.
We have run out of time, but I do want to say a big thank you to Chris Glen, the Director of Parks and Recreation for the City of Burlington, Denise Beard, the Manager of Community Development for Parks and Rec, and Lori Henderson, a Marketing Coordinator with the Parks and Recreation Department. I say thank you to all of you for being on the program today, because we've had great discussion, and I think we've helped enlighten people about the great programs that are available in the city that most people may not know about.